English ivy is susceptible to two diseases caused by two very different organisms. One disease is a bacterial disease called bacterial leaf spot, and the bacterium involved is one called Xanthomonas campestris pathovar heteri. Heteri refers to the fact that heterohelix is the plant that's infected. Now, Xanthomonas campestris is quite a large group of bacteria that are similar to each other, but their main difference is that they attack different hosts. And so the way you tell one Xanthomonas campestris from another is by what host the bacterium is found on. Now, the bacterial disease is very distinctive. It causes a dark brown to black leaf spot to form on the leaves, such as we have here. And very frequently, the spot will have a yellow halo, or the leaf will start to turn yellow as the infection occurs. Now, the way you tell that it's a bacterial disease is that you take a magnifying glass and look very carefully at the spot. And if you did that with this spot, you would see that it's dark brown to black, but there are no little black specks within the dead and dying area. It's rather uniform, in other words. Another way you can tell a bacterial disease is if you look at the underside of the leaf. Now, very frequently, the underside of the leaf spot will have sort of a greasy appearance, and sometimes it has what we call a water-soaked appearance. And that's a good way to tell that you have a bacterial leaf spot. Now, if you had a microscope, the next thing to do would be to take some of the leaf spot and tear it up in a droplet of water and put the spot on a microscope slide, and you would see the bacteria oozing out in kind of a cloudy ooze coming out of the infected tissue. And then if you focused on just off the infected tissue onto the healthy tissue, you would not see that cloudy ooze. So this is the bacterial leaf spot. It's a very dark brown spot, almost black in some cases, with kind of a yellow halo and a greasy appearance. Now, the fungal leaf spot looks quite a bit different. The fungal leaf spot is more of a tan in color, and it tends not to have a yellow halo. The spots tend to be larger. They dry out and can begin to crack, and here you can see on this leaf spot you have a cracked open area. Now, the fungus is called Calototricum, and like most fungi, it spreads by forming spores, and this particular fungus forms spores in a very distinctive fruiting structure. In fact, you don't even need a magnifying glass to see this fruiting structure. There are little black dots peppering the surface of the tan area. And here again, if you had a magnifying glass and you look carefully, the fruiting structure has dark brown, sterile, hair-like protrusions coming out of the fruiting structure. It almost looks like a little sea urchin on the surface of the leaf. So here we have the two different leaf spots. We have the bacterial leaf spot, which is the dark brown to black spot, and here we have the fungal leaf spot, which is tan in color and quite irregular in shape. Now, fortunately, if you were trying to control these diseases, you take the same approach to both diseases. First of all, both diseases are pretty specific to English ivy. So when you're buying English ivy to put into the landscape, or if you're buying it to produce it to be sold to other people, you want to make sure you buy healthy plants that don't already have the disease, because these diseases don't go away by themselves. They just get worse and worse. Once you have the plants, you want to make sure that you try to avoid sprinkler irrigation, because both the bacteria and the fungus are spread by splashing, and they both need wetness on the surface of the plant in order to invade it. So rather than using sprinkler irrigation, if you take the sprinkler off the end of the hose or the nozzle off the end of the hose and just lay the hose at the base of the plant and let it run, that's the best way to water them, because then you're putting water on the roots where the water is required, and you're keeping it off the leaves, and you're preventing splashing, and you're also not putting water on the leaves that are required by both the fungus and the bacterium. Once you have a bed that has these two diseases, if you don't have a large area affected, you can just pluck off the infected leaves and remove them from the bed, and that can clean up quite a bit of both the fungal and the bacterial disease. The other thing you can do is you can spray a copper-type material. Both the bacterium and the fungus will be controlled by copper sprays. And you'd apply those in the springtime as the new leaves are coming out in order to protect the leaves. And also, you might want to do it when we have a lot of wet weather in the summer and possibly in the fall. But the most important time would be to have the copper material on in the spring. And so these are two different diseases, but they cause very similar sorts of growth symptoms in that you'll get leaf spotting, and you can get a lot of defoliation as they spread in the bed.